Srimad Goswami language, Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Sri Guru Gauranga, Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Deze van Srimad Bhagavatam, verder 21 kapitel, tekst bedoelen. Akshini,
Akshini,
Nasike,
Nasike,
Karno,
Karnam,
Mukam,
Mukam,
Sishna,
Krishna,
Kudau,
Kudau,
Iti,
Iti,
Dve,
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 Dvaro,
Dvarau,
Bahi,
Bahi,
Yati,
Yati,
Ya,
Ya,
Tat,
Sat,
Indriya,
Indriya,
Samta,
Samyuta.
Akshini, Nasike, Karno,
Akshini, Nasike, Karnau,
Akshini, Nasike, Karno,
Akshini, Nasike, Karnau,
Mukam, Sishna, Gudaviti,
Mukam, Krishna, Gudaviti,
Mukam, Sishna, Gudaviti,
Mukam, Krishna, Gudaviti,
Dve, Dve, Dvaro, Bahiryati,
Dve, Dve, Dvarau, Bahiryati,
Dve, Dve, Dvaro, Bahiryati,
Dve, Dve, Dvarau, Bahiryati,
Yastadindriya Samyuta,
Yastadindriya Samyuta,
Yastadindriya Samyuta,
Yastadindriya Samyuta,
Akshini, Nasike, Karno,
Akshini, Nasike, Karnau,
Mukam, Sishna, Gudaviti,
Mukam, Krishna, Gudaviti,
Dve, Dve, Dvaro, Bahiryati,
Dve, Dve, Dvarau, Bahiryati,
Yastadindriya Samyuta,
Yastadindriya Samyuta,
Akshini Nasike Karnau,
Akshini, Nasike, Karnau,
Mukam Sishna Kudaviti,
Mukam, Krishna, Gudaviti,
Dve Dve Dvarau Bahiryati,
Dve, Dve, Dvarau, Bahiryati,
Yastat Indriya Samyutaha,
Yastadindriya Samyuta, Akshini, Nasike, Karnau, Akshini, Nasike, Karnau, Mukam, Krishna, Gudaviti, Mukam, Krishna, Gudaviti, Dve, Dvarau, Bahiryati, Dve, Dve, Dvarau, Bahiryati, Yastadindriya Samyuta, Yastadindriya Samyuta, Akshini, Nasike, Karnau, Akshini, Nasike, Karnau, Mukam, Krishna, Gudaviti, Mukam, Krishna, Gudaviti, Dve, Dve, Dvarau, Bahiryati, Dve, Dve, Dvarau, Bahiryati, Yastadindriya Samyuta, Yastadindriya Samyuta,
Akshine nasike karnau.
Akshini nashike karnau.
Mukam Krishna gudaviti.
Mukam Krishna gudaviti.
Dve dvara bahiriyati.
Dve dve dvara bahirati.
Yastadindriya samyuta.
Yastadindriya samyuta. Akshini nasike karnau.
Mukam Krishna gudaviti.
Mukam Krishna gudaviti. Dve dve dvara bahirati. Yastadindriya samyuta. Akshini nasike karnau. Mukam Krishna gudaviti. Dve dve dvara bahirati. Yastadindriya samyuta.
Could someone please get me some water? Akshini,
Akshini,
two eyes.
two eyes.
Nasike,
Nasike,
two nostrils.
two nostrils.
Karnau,
Karnau,
two ears.
two ears.
Mukam,
Mukam,
mouth.
mouth.
Sisna,
Krishna,
genitals.
genitals.
Udau,
Udau,
and rectum.
rectum.
Iti,
Iti,
thus.
thus.
Dve,
Dve,
two.
two.
Dve,
Dve,
two.
two.
Dvarau,
Dvarau,
gates.
gates.
Bahi,
Bahi,
outside.
outside.
Yati,
Yati,
goes.
goes.
Yama,
Ya,
one who.
one who.
Tat,
Tat,
to the gates.
to the gates.
India,
India,
by the senses.
by the senses.
Samyuta,
Samyuta,
accompanied.
accompanied.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The eyes, nostrils, and ears are pairs of gates situated in one place. The mouth, genitals, and the mouth, genital, and rectum are also different gates, being placed into a body having these 9 gates. The living entity acts externally in the material world and enjoys sense objects like form and tastes. Purport. Not being aware of his spiritual position, the living entity, directed by the mind, goes out to the 9 gates to enjoy material objects. Because of long association with material objects, he forgets his real spiritual activities and is thus misled. The entire world is going on being misled by so-called leaders like scientists and philosophers who have no knowledge of the spirit soul. Thus, the conditioned soul becomes more and more entangled. Akshini nasike karnau, mukam sisna budaviti, vedve dvaro bahiriyati, yasta indriya samyuta. The eyes, nostrils, and ears are pairs of gates situated in one place. The mouth, genital, and rectum are also different gates. Being placed into a body having these 9 gates, the living entity acts externally in the material world and enjoys sense objects like form and taste. Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. When our eyes are trained in knowledge, there will actually be nothing, no material object here in this material world that will be able to incite our interest. It is said one other name for this world is Maitunya Agara. It means the place to which one is shackled by the chains of sex life. The desire to enjoy the pleasures of sex life is that which is the strongest attachment of the living entity, which chains him to the material world. So this is the chief pleasure in this material world. But a transcendentalist whose eyes are trained, whose eyes have been trained by spiritual knowledge, can understand that what is actually that wonder in sex life. Like, what are we running after? We're actually running after a bag of stool, urine, pus and blood, which is sometimes, like, if it's nicely packaged, then it sort of it sparks some interest, within our mind, within our hearts. So a transcendentalist will see a body of a woman and he will understand, well, it doesn't matter how beautiful she is, he's still just carrying around a lot of stool and urine, inside all these obnoxious substances. And you crazy fool, you want to enjoy this obnoxious bag, which is temporary, and your own bag you're carrying, that's also temporary. So what kind of idiot are you that you want to derive pleasure from this? If you have spiritual knowledge, if you know that you're soul, that you're eternal, that you have nothing to do with this material body, then any such thought that comes up in the mind will curse us. What kind of fool are you? But if spiritual knowledge is absent, it will be very attractive. It will be the sum and substance of life to somehow get such an association of such a young, beautiful female. So by transcendental knowledge we can kick out this idea of enjoying material sex life. But kicking out the idea of material sex life, that is actually not enough to actually and to be satisfied as an eternal soul. Because what does the soul want? The soul, it desires Ananda. We have the Vedic aphorism that Ananda Maya Vyasat, that the soul is eternally pleasure seeking. And actually, the enjoying spirit that we find in ourselves, in conditioned life, that is actually eternally a part of the soul. Every soul has an enjoying spirit. It's just a matter if that spirit enjoyment, that is being found in the material world, or it is found spiritually. And as we also know, that spiritual enjoyment, real Ananda, that is actually only found with Krishna. Simply negation of the material world, rejecting it as Maya, rejecting it as temporary and obnoxious, simply negation, that is not enough for the soul to be completely satisfied. We may temporarily escape the miseries of this material world and make some distance to it, but actually simply that thing will not give us the Ananda which actually we're hankering for. So that's why Krishna says, Manamana Pavamad Bhakto Majjai Mam Namaskuru, become my devotee, offer obeisance unto me. No, he said also, but just for Mahan, worship me. He says that because he knows perfectly well that the real enjoyment for the living entity is found in his association. So, and also this service of Krishna, also it may seem distasteful. Why should we serve Krishna? You know, so many people are after my service, so why should we serve Krishna? What makes him different? So that's also a difficult concept to accept the Lord as master, because we think that the master he simply takes service and enjoys, he simply exploits. So, but actually we should understand that of all servants, Krishna is the greatest servant. How is the super soul not serving us? It is said, Savasya Chaham Riti Sanivisto Mata Gyanam Apahanam Cha, that Krishna says, I am seated in the heart of all living entities, and from me comes remembrance, forgetfulness, and knowledge. Like that. So anything we remember, that only comes from Krishna. Now, all the knowledge that we're able to take advantage of, that is Krishna's gift. And so to speak, and if we do something foolish, he helps to teach us by making us forget. So, and even in the morning, if the super soul does not give the sanction, this body will not rise. So how much is Krishna serving us? How is he arranging that that we can have our needs met? He's Bhuta Brin. He's the maintainer of all living entities. So how is it not that Krishna is serving all living entities? He's actually the greatest servant. That is actually Krishna's position. But we have a distaste to accept any master. But if there is one master to be accepted, it is Krishna. And he does not suffer. He should not be taken as one of ordinary masters who just happen to be a little stronger than everybody else and happen to derive a high position out of good luck. No, he is eternally. There's actually only one Purusha, eternally one supreme enjoyer, Bhaktaram Jagyatapasa, he says. And he's eternally meant to be that receiver of our bhakti. There's Bhakta and Bhakta. Bhakta means enjoyer. Bhakta means he who is enjoyed. So the Bhakta is meant to give bhakti to the Bhakta. And that is eternal truth. Krishna is eternal in Bhakta, and we are eternal in the Bhaktas. So by giving our bhakti to Krishna, then the eternal truth is actually properly established. And there is the real enjoyment. So, in order to get fully free from the drudgery of this material attachment, this strong attachment for material sex life, and to fully get rid of it, to fully rise above it, we have to take shelter in the devotional service of the Lord. To get the real Ananda, to be properly situated as a spiritually constitutional position as eternal bhaktas, devotees and servants of the Lord. So that is the real solution. Otherwise, if that solution is not fully realized, then we will still be troubled by impulses for material sex desire. It will arise because it has been programmed by innumerable lives of practice, and it will come up again and again until unless we have derived a full and real taste for the service of the Lord. So we cannot hope to become free from this before actually we are well and properly situated in the service of the Lord. So if one feels that this is a problem, that these thoughts which comes up for material enjoyment, that this is something that one should get rid of, and it's actually not a very tasteful thing to be attached in such a material, temporary way, devoid of any real Ananda, then one should actually desire very strongly for the Lord's mercy, that He will actually kindly facilitate us, and that we may have the determination to be properly and continuously situated in devotional service. Hai tukhiya patihata. Our service must be unmotivated and it must be uninterrupted in order to fully satisfy the self. So that's when we can actually be free from the troublesome material desires which come up in the heart. So the Srimad Bhagavatam and the Srimad Bhagavad Gita are propagating this eternal spiritual truth. So actually that's where we can purify our mind, where we can get this correct idea. So in order to be successful in changing our behavior from material attraction to attraction for Krishna, we have to take shelter of these scriptures. So that is the main way that actually will come about, and by taking association of devotees, like-minded devotees who also want to endeavor for this goal. If we go together, then there's a good chance that even within this life that we'll get properly situated in devotional service, and that the Lord may be so kind that He may altogether take us out of the material world if He so desires after this life. So that's the real solution to our lingering material desires. We have to really be fully situated in devotional service, not half and half, not that half-hearted endeavor will not do if we're keeping something back, if we're not giving 100% to Krishna in the situation that we have, then we are just prolonging the waiting, our own waiting to be favored by the Lord. If we're holding back anything, we're only cheating ourselves. Krishna cannot be cheated. He will only take us back when we're ready. So we should not make a half-hearted endeavor. We should endeavor to make the full use of the situation we have. That is actually real intelligence. So, with that I'd like to ask if there's any comments or questions. Yes.
I have a question to the text which says in the beginning, the eyes, nose, nostrils, ears are a couple of gates situated in one place, right?
Yeah.
And then next is mentioned the mouth. So isn't the mouth also situated in the same place? I'm just wondering why it's mentioned like this.
This is pairs of gates, you know. The eyes, nostrils and ears are pairs of gates situated in one place, so they're like that. So it's they're just single gates. Yeah. Anything else? Yes.
It seems like that one tries to be independent and do things out of one's own strength. You say
Fundamental.
it's a fundamental problem for the soul, or the conditioned soul. So how does one relate to this problem?
Basically, the desire to be independent is that we don't trust anybody. We have been cheated so many different ways, so many times here in the material world, so we have actually developed a fundamental distrust in anyone who wants to pose as any authority. That is very prominent in this modern day and age where teachers are being rejected, you know, gurus are found to be cheating, like that. So there's a very strong. The kings, they were also kicked down from their thrones because the general public they lost faith. Kali Yuga, first the Brahmanas they fell. That happened with at the age of Maharaj Parikshit, with the curse of Shringi cursing Maharaj Parikshit. Then it is said that the Brahmin caste they lost their merits, and after that, after King Parikshit, then also the Kshatriyas they lost their merits, and they were also kicked down. And then we had democracy, government by the people, of the people, by the people. So now we're rotating them because nobody trusted anybody will be actually able to rule properly. So we have to unlimited time. So at least they will not do too much harm. So we can at least change it after 4 years or like that. So there's a fundamental distrust that somebody can actually there will be somebody who has very pure motives. We're always expecting that there will be some motive for material exploitation in any leader. So therefore, we have we developed a tendency to be independent, so that we will not be cheated. In one sense, you can say it's also with some reason, because there are cheaters, and we should not be cheated. But we should also not be foolish that if there is a bona fide, genuine representative of the Guru Parampara, then we should not think that he's a cheater. If a representative of the Guru Parampara is doing proper work, is well situated, then we should be careful that our independent, like ingrained nature, will stop us actually from putting faith and giving our support to such a person who is authorized. If that is there, then Krishna is not satisfied. Then actually that independent nature goes to our disfavor. It will not be to our benefit. So we have to judge, who is the authority we have. Are they well situated? Are they properly doing their service, pleasing their spiritual master, pleasing the Lord? If they are, then we can support and we can give them full support. And that's actually what Krishna wants to see, because it's not a one-man show. This is a joint effort, to serve the Lord. And the Lord wants He wants the Sankirtan mission. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he wanted this Sankirtan mission spread all over the world to every town and village, and that's a major undertaking. That is not a one-man show. That needs the concerted effort of many individuals together, and that needs organization. And the Guru Parampara is set up for that organization. We have there are initiating spiritual masters, we have the instructing spiritual masters, and we have the Acharya, founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada. He set up this whole organization structure. We have temple presidents, temple commanders, so on. This whole organizational infrastructure, so to speak, which is needed in order to fulfill this mission. So we should make sure that we fit in nicely and only use our independent nature so far as to that we will not get cheated. Because blind following, that was also not required by Srila Prabhupada. He didn't ask his followers to simply become blind. So we may use our independent nature, at least not so that we not go about blindly. But if the authority we have is bona fide, is correctly situated, then we should not switch on that independent. Then we should give support. Because if we give support, then we'll be promoted to get more service. If we show in the beginning that required, you can say, obedience to our authority, then Krishna will see, will this person fit himself to act as an authority and guide others. If the obedience is absent, then Krishna will not promote you to a position of responsibility. He will not give you more service than the service directed by your direct authority. If you show obedience, you'll get a free action, a field of action. You'll be able to, more different ways, serve. Your scope of service will increase. If that humble and obedient nature is there, then Krishna will give you so much service. And with all that service comes a lot of realization. So that we also have in mind, if we want to be blessed by the Lord, that He should shower us with so much service that we will not be able to be Maya, then it is required that we are obedient and humble, that we show that. Otherwise we might not be blessed so much. And we can see that, starting from the coming to the temple, we didn't have any service. But then slowly we got some service. We were granted some service. It may have increased. And we may find yourself in a situation where now I have so much service that it's even more for myself, I can give some service out. So that's actually great wealth. That Krishna has given you so much service that you have enough for yourself and you can give to somebody else. That's actually your only wealth. If you don't have your service, you don't have anything. You see, that service that you have is actually the most valuable asset that you have. And if Krishna is kind, he'll give you more service. So much that you will not have any space within your planning capacity to think of any material endeavor. Because you simply have so many things that you have to do for Krishna, to spread his mission, that there will not be any space for Maya. But that only comes if we have that submissive and humble attitude towards the superiors. Otherwise Krishna will not promote us, he will not grant us the service. And if we try to do something, it will come out a failure. Because the proud nature, it will always be corrected by the Lord. If we have the proud nature, of course people, they will switch on the independent. Why should I follow this guy? He's obviously proud. It will just lead in failure sooner or later. So that humility and obedience is required in that sense. Okay, that was a little bit roundabout, but I guess to the point. Yes?
The Guru Parampara, why do other sampradayas not accept us as a bona fide sampradaya?
Because then they're misinformed. They're not fully educated, because this Guru Parampara is recorded. The saying of this Guru Parampara is Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. We can trace back. We have this list in the Bhagavad Gita, which is there, so it is established, and this is Guru Parampara. I hear it to the Brahma Sampradaya, coming originally from Brahma, is mentioned in the Vedas. So if one does not accept this Guru Parampara's authority, then one is simply misinformed. And then we tell them, you educate yourself.
So if one has had bad experiences with cheaters, and now one is so kind of even traumatic from all this, cannot even put faith in anyone anymore, or what to do?
Well, we should understand, what does Krishna want that traumatic in you? Is it something you yourself want, and does Krishna want it? It's simply an anartha. And it's actually, we should know that we're not allowed to cling on to anarthas. I said that's one of the offenses. Actually, to maintain material attachment. So this attachment to our independent nature, that's actually an anartha. If we misuse it, if we linger in it in a harmful way, if it stops us from actually serving and supporting a great exalted devotee, then it is an anartha that is going against us. It's an anartha. It's acting as an anartha. So we understand that those anarthas, they cannot go to the spiritual world. We cannot be considered. We cannot get the full mercy of the Lord if our hands are grabbing onto the anartha and not reaching out for the mercy of the Lord. Then we cannot expect to get His mercy. So we have to let go of the anarthas conjointly as we reach for the mercy of the Lord. So if we see that independent nature is there within us and it is acting unfavorably, we can see that it is going against us, then we should know that this is something we have to work on giving up. And we should be realistic about it. It's a practical thing. We should understand that this tendency, because it is an ingrained thing, it comes up automatically, even without us willfully thinking about it. It just comes up. The tendency is there. So we should understand, whenever we can spot the tendency, it is coming up, we should resist it. We should try by composed mind to resist acting upon that pushing within ourselves to immediately reject an authority, anyone who steps up. Because we have it in us. In Danish, it's very commonly known as the janteloven. Whenever somebody steps up and takes some responsibility, and sticks their neck out, then the tendency is that to kick him down. That's actually that automated, independent fearfulness that is coming up. So we can find it. If you're honest, we see that the tendency is there. So before that tendency is acted upon, before it is carried out in life in some action, some kind of actually kicking down, we should understand that, well, why is it really required in this situation? Does he require to be kicked down? Is it my duty to kick this person down? Is this my service to Krishna to kick this person down? We should actually soberly analyze if this is favorable at the current moment, that I should do this. And we may find most often that the tendency is there, but it should not be acted upon. Like in many cases, it's simply something we should tolerate. Matras parsas to kanteya. There's simply some pushing within us that we should just subdue. And if we successfully do that, we'll get more strength to keep this tendency down. And when the tendency is kept down, we will not make mistakes. We will not create trouble for ourselves. And when there's no trouble, the mind is peaceful. We'll be more able to execute our own bhajan. If our mind is constantly troubled by enmity with other devotees, we will not be able to peacefully execute our bhajan. So the benefit of keeping down this tendency is that we will be peaceful enough to make solid progress, for Krishna, and do the correct actions instead of acting upon this tendency. So it takes hard work, I would say, and I know it myself. If you're honest, we see it's there. But it can be correct.
But what if we, like many people who come in touch with devotees like that, they are, they cannot pin faith, because as Prabhu writes in Bhagavad Gita, they've been frustrated. It's anger, but it turns into cynicism. Because they've been heard so many things and been presented with so many different philosophies, and they all turned out to be wrong, and no one is really, everyone is, somebody has so many big sounding words, but when it comes down to it, they don't follow themselves. And
there are unfortunate cases like that, definitely. But that's just a misfortune. That's what you can do is that we can be good examples ourselves, that at least ourselves, that we follow properly, and we don't take any excuse for our own self. We follow properly, and then if we're in a position, we may give some good instructions, some good advice, and then it's up to them. If they take the good advice or not, that's only up to them. If one does not want to accept the advice and teachings of the devotees, then there is another teacher standing by, and that's the material nature. And she's the tough one. So either we learn the easy way or we learn the hard way. So we should not be so concerned with the others also that we worry too much. It is their responsibility. We should know that our first responsibility is to be interested to save ourselves. Because only when we are saved ourselves, then can we really properly save others. That's actually the first thing. Before trying to save your child, you put on your own life jacket. And don't procrastinate about putting on. We shouldn't procrastinate at putting on our life jacket, and somehow getting ourselves killed in the process. Because there are many unfortunate rascals. They're not really eager, and they're not really properly interested yet to take benefit of good instructions. So what to do? We shouldn't be too much disturbed about that, because that's just Kali Yuga. First of all, be soundly situated ourselves, and then, honestly do it to full capacity what we can do to help others as a service to Krishna and Guru. That I would say would be at least my understanding. Yes.
Comment or attempt or whatever. One thing maybe we could do is that, like if we understand their troubled background, and yeah, then we try to be like extra kind, extra nice, extra tolerant, and like not push, not be like like basically not use the same approach with everybody. Like as a, because everybody is an individual. Everybody had their past lives. Everybody had their experiences. Everybody is a person. Everybody is an individual. So if we get a glimpse of how troubled they are, how agitated their mind is, or whatever, then we can try. I mean, another thing is that there's pray for them. If they are sincere, they try to come and you see that they are really struggling because of whatever happened. And then pray for them and pray that pray to Krishna, pray that we can be instruments to guide them, to something like that.
Yeah, I think so.
I would also say, work on our own integrity, because okay, many are skeptical for good reasons. But if they get constantly exposed to devotees, and devotees actually are sincere, honest, straightforward, not, do not. I mean, actually, they have a high integrity. Then they will ultimately gain faith.
Yeah.
And then also, I mean, something we have to be very careful is to not at any point fall down from integrity and start taking advantage of someone. That's something the worst we can do. I mean, if we actually gain the faith of someone, and and actually they, we earned their faith, and we in one sense even deserved earning their faith because we were in but then if we somehow or other fall down and break the faith, that is very violent, and we can really cause harm in someone's.
This has happened, and you can also see, well, that's a lesson for him, who actually gained that faith. And he was intelligent enough to do service, proper service, to Guru and Krishna, and he was able to gain some of his faith. But then he became intoxicated, because there are three things: women, wealth, and followers. When we are tempted by these things, our determination, our fixed determination to serve the Lord can be covered. It can be covered by favor of trying to enjoy these things, and we felt someday we're tempted. But that's a lesson for them. They will not be kicked away. They will be given another chance, again, to act as servants of the Lord. Maybe not in this life, but next life they will have the same opportunity to do so. Because that's what Krishna says, you start from the point where you left off. So that was just a lesson for them, that they actually misused their position, but they also got a very fearful reaction to that. They got a strong kick, from abusing their position. And we can make sure that that's just a good lesson. So we should also, if we have taken advantage of it, we should see, well, that was just for him to learn. He was not fully pure yet, and he got swayed by this followership of whoever, so many was there in history who got swayed like that. But he's also an eternal servant of the Lord. He's just in a learning process. So this life he may have fallen down, but next life he may get it right. He may have learned the lesson fully, and he'll probably be able to go the full 100 miles. So we see some, they have gone the full 100. They have never abused their position of authority throughout the whole lives. We see actually some success stories. Prabhu, of course, was just a shining example. And there are other spiritual masters who have done the same. They have gone through also they had some difficulty in there, but in the end you find that we could not put any finger on them. They fully surrendered their life to Guru and Krishna, to the service of Guru and Krishna. Therefore they are glorified. And some, they didn't make it. They actually fell down. But still, we should know that they are still in the learning process. And next life, they will get it right. So what was the harm? They fell down, they learned something, we learned something, and we can take it like that too. We can take it like that. And that we never come in the same situation. Because we also learn by their lesson, by seeing them. Seeing others make a mistake, that's also a lesson for us. Understanding by hearing, seeing, or by own experience. So, yeah. So we'll take that point. We should maintain our integrity. That's our main business, our own integrity.
But since these, maybe if you just see it as their karma, this empathy and feeling with them, living for them is not so rampant, and that if you just see it, oh, it's just their karma, right? And he will learn next life. Then maybe we do not experience this or exhibit, or what's it called, foster this empathy and care.
Actually, both things are there. They may seem sometimes to go against each other, but actually both things are there. We need to be seated in transcendental, because nothing here should shake us. Spiritual knowledge is actually the boat, the transcendental knowledge, the boat by which we cross over the ocean of nations. So that's the spiritual truth is what we can cling to. And then, sometimes, people, they become callous and say, well, it's their own karma, it's their own fault. And like that, they will learn sooner or later anyway. So that is, of course, maybe not so pleasing to the Lord. Right? The Lord likes to see this, because he says, Dayaya sarva bhutesu, and Narada Muni says, Dayaya sarva bhutesu, santuste enakena vasa vendyopasamtita. By being merciful to all living entities, by being satisfied somehow or other, and controlling the senses of sense gratification, one can very quickly satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Janada. So, by being merciful to all living entities, now that is desired. That's the desired trait that Krishna wants to see in us. So we should be merciful, but we should be intelligently merciful, not sentimentally merciful. Because that's actually not real mercy. That's just foolishness, recklessness, which many times often ends up in harming he who thinks he's merciful. Oh, I should be merciful. But if we're foolishly merciful, we end up getting ourselves sometimes hurt. So we should not be foolishly merciful, we should be intelligently merciful. And that's how to be intelligently merciful, that is given in Shastra by the Acharya. They show actually how we should be properly merciful. So it will be pleasing to the Lord, and we will not be killed or harmed in the process. Yes. So we stop here. Thank you very much for your kind attention. Srimad Bhagavatam ki
Jai.